All right, everybody. So sorry about the audio quality on this video. My voice does go in and out during me sculpting. So hopefully it doesn't do it too bad into the most important parts, but please bear with me while I'm getting my new setup going and trying to figure out the perfect settings for my mic. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll talk to you soon. All right, everybody. So I am starting a new segment on my channel. It's going to be called KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid. And basically what I'm going to be doing is going over anything as far as the basics goes when it comes to any art software that I've been using or have been using. Get you guys kind of running on the ground floor of things and start to be able to play around with stuff yourself as I'm developing more courses and tutorials for everything. But enough to get you so that you can start creating any software that I may have on the channel. So I'm only covering the pure basics, nothing too crazy, nothing too in-depth or detailed, but just enough to get you guys a base understanding and everything. So today we have Blender in front of us, and Blender is now my free open source modeling package, both digital sculpting and 3D modeling. I still use ZBrush because I'm waiting for Blender to get their new tools up to date, but I'm starting to get used to working in Blender as far as sculpting goes so that I can easily start transitioning over to making it my main software for most of my character modeling. So first thing we want to start off with is we're going to go into preferences. In your preferences, you're going to want to go to input. Yeah. You want to make sure that emulate 3 button mouse is on, and that's what's going to allow you, if you're using a tablet or a screen display, that's going to allow you to rotate and move as you were as if you were using a regular mouse in the viewport. Okay, that's the biggest one. That's the most important one. Other things you can do is go into system, and your undo steps, I would make it up to 64. You can go higher if you want, but it usually is default at 32. But I would make it higher just in case you want to back up a little. Anything else in here? I have orbit around selection. So anything you have selection or selected, it's going to focus and orbit around as you're working on it. I haven't tried it during sculpting. I mostly did it recently more towards my regular modeling work, but we'll see how it acts right now as we sculpt on the sphere. Key mapping, I have mine left select, and I use the tab for pie menu and tab pie menu to drag. Then I also add extra shading pie menu options. Don't know exactly what that does, but this at least allows me to have a pie menu to select between edit, object, and sculpt mode when I need to go in between either one of them. So make sure you go ahead and save current state. It should auto save, but I always double save just in case. Now, say you were starting from nothing, you can go Shift A and then hit UV sphere, and there you go. You have your sphere if you had nothing before. And if you want any other shape, that's how you would select it. So if I wanted a box to start off with, I'd go Shift A, mesh, and then cube. That would allow me to do that stuff. And actually, I'm going to leave the cube for now because then I can rotate and everything for you. I don't know why it's happening, but Blender lately has been freezing and stalling on my machine. I don't know if it's my new GPU. I've already gone through 3 graphics cards, so if you guys have any clue to what might be going on, please. But anyways, so we want to start moving around with our pen display. And I'm using the cube just so you guys can actually see it rotating and stuff. So with the pen, we're going to go ahead and to rotate in your viewport with your pen or pen display, you would have to hold Alt. Unlike ZBrush, where it's just you draw out in the blank area, with Blender, you have to hold Alt, rotate your model. Okay. And now if you want to zoom in or out of the model, then you would hold Alt, Control, and that would allow you to zoom in, zoom out. From there, if you want to move or pan your object, it would be Shift+ALT that allows you to move your object around. Okay, so Alt is to spin, rotate. Alt Control is to zoom in and out, and Alt Shift to position your object where you need it on your screen. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to switch back to a sphere. And one thing I'm going to start off with saying is I like this way, working this way where it's not completely smoothed out. Some people like to smooth it, and the reason why, you know, me jumping over to Blender, I've been watching a lot of tutorials as well. And one of my favorite Blender sculptors, YANSCULPT, if you guys aren't subscribed to him already, you should check him out. He suggested to keep it planar, because then as you're using dynamic topology, you know what is smooth and what is actually having geometry added to it. When you don't have it, or when you do have it auto smooth or shaded smoothly, you tend to forget what parts are high resolution and what parts are low resolution. We'll get to that into a second. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my sculpt mode, and from there I have all the sculpting brushes that pretty much I need. I mean, I only use like 4 or 5 of them, and even in ZBrush, where that program has so many brushes, I only use pretty much like maybe 5 or 8 of them inside of ZBrush to do all my work. And I'm emphasizing that because I want you guys to know you don't need super fancy tools to get good work done. You need a strong foundation as an artist with great fundamentals to be able to get strong work done. You know, back when I was in school, I used to think the same way as some people and be like, oh, I need the new flashiest technique or shortcut or whatever. But what was lacking was my foundation. So I highly recommend, if you guys aren't already great artists or have a strong understanding, take some gesture classes, take some fundamental classes in shape language, design, composition, things like that. And they'll help in every aspect of whatever you're doing, be it environments, characters, anything. So, all right, a few quick edits I want to show you guys is, for the main brushes that I'm going to be using, it's pretty much draw, clay strips, inflate every now and again, crease, flatten, smooth. Smooth is just shift and it'll smooth it for you. All right, so smooth. I don't really use fill or scrape right now. Pinch, sometimes. Grab, I use a lot. I think that's about it. I haven't been using mask all that often, and I probably will add it in, but right now, again, I'm still getting used to sculpting in Blender. I'm not a super sculpting aficionado, but I understand digital sculpting, and just with these basic brushes, I'm able to do what I want to. So I'm going to go over these brushes real quick and show you draw. Because I'm using a tablet, the default, I believe, was 1, but I have it at 0.5, and that's going to allow you to get, you know, a variable in how heavy each stroke is going to be. You want to make sure that is at 0.5 depending on the type of tablet you have. Sometimes it could go to 0.2 if your pen pressure is like 2048. I have an 8K pen pressure tablet, so that's why I bumped it up to 0.5. Clay strips, same thing, 0.5. Inflate, we're at 0.5. Crease, I think we're at 0.25 because I want to be able to work in the crease how I need it to be. I bumped it up to 0.25. Smooth, 0.5. Grab is at 0.1. If you use the standard grab settings, it's going to pull really fast and really hard. I like to slowly build up my shapes when I use the grab brush. So that's something that you guys want to keep track of. So we're only going to be using draw, clay strips, inflate, crease, flatten, smooth, which is again shift. You hold shift and it'll do that for you. And grab and possibly pinch. But from there, I'll go over a few things outside of just the brushes. If you want to increase your size, you hold F and you can adjust your radius of your brush. I believe Shift F is the strength of the brush. But again, I don't really mess with that all too much. But if you need to on the fly, you can adjust your strength that way. I just prefer to do it in the bar and type it in because I have more control that way. If you want to invert your sculpt, so say you want to, instead of adding your sculpt, you would like to subtract or take away, then you would hold control as you're sculpting on it. That's it for now. If you guys see that I have the secondary screens over here, I'm having them up so I don't have to continuously rotate all the time. I can just look over and see if an orthographic view how it's looking and in a angled perspective view how the sculpt is coming along. So I'm going to focus on this screen in the sculpt mode. And if you see the brushes are gone and some of the assets are, you just hit T to hide those. Okay. And as for anything else, like say we're going to object mode and I want to make sure it's selected, make sure this little icon is turned on. I have wireframe turned off. I have the 3D cursor turned off. I have the origins turned on so I can see exactly where the origin's from. And then I have all this stuff turned off. I leave it on flat mode right now, but if you want to later, you can render it out and make it look all nice and everything. But I think that's it. Again, I'm just starting to sculpt in Blender. So again, I'm not a super aficionado, but if you want to watch somebody who is, I would recommend checking out YANSCULPT. His stuff is amazing, and I like seeing the way he works. One thing I want to note, symmetry is up here, so any axis that you want to make symmetrical, you can click on these, turn it on and off. I start off with X, and then you also have Dino Topo, which I'll go into in a little bit. But we're going to start sculpting, and I'm just going to start getting a base shape for a face. We'll see what I get. I don't know I don't have anything in mind right now that I want. So this video, if I did both parts together, it was going to be over almost 40 minutes long, 45 minutes long. So what I decided to do is split to the beginning and the sculpting part separate. So I'm going to be posting another video soon with just the sculpting part. And again, I'm sorry for the audio quality on that as well. I did it all at the same time. I just split the video in half or in parts. But again, please bear with me with the audio quality, and we'll make sure to get that figured out in the next few videos. All right, peace.